and welcome to Tim Connolly Drums. First off, I want to thank everybody who recently watched my Neil Peart video about the time when I met Neil and spent some time with him in a studio environment as peers. So you'll have to check out that video. Please go and check out my story all about Neil. Now, one thing that I want to talk about is, I'm being totally honest, I've met thousands of drummers and celebrities over my lifetime. Now, some of them were by accident, like Neil, for example. Some of them were on purpose, where I sought them out. Some of them were my teachers. Some of them were peers in the sense that I met them in a studio environment, a performing environment. Some of them were guests at music camps that I was teaching at. Some of them I met, actually a lot of drummers I met was through Dom Famularo. Hanging around with Dom Famularo and being one of his top students for many, many years afforded me unbelievable abilities to meet and hang out with some of the world's greatest drummers. Dom introduced me to so many people, it's mind-blowing. But today I want to tell you a funny story about a gig that I did at the Docks in Toronto in July of 2001. Now, why is the date July 2001 so important? When I did this gig at the Docks on Polson Street in Toronto, it was a day or two before Ozzfest. So it was, the area was being prepared for a very large festival. I mean, Ozzfest is huge. We're talking about thousands of people. And I was playing a gig inside of the Docks, which was a venue right beside where this big festival was going to take place. And if I'm not mistaken, I think some of the festival actually took part inside of the Docks, which was like a restaurant club. I'm not 100% sure about that because I actually wasn't in the Docks to see anybody. I did go to Ozzfest, but I didn't actually go inside the Docks to see if there was anybody performing in there. I just remember hearing at the time that maybe some bands performed inside of the Docks during Ozzfest. When I was there, it was a completely separate gig that I was doing from Ozzfest. It had nothing to do with Ozzfest. I was just in a band that was hired to play at the Docks right before Ozzfest. Anyways, I'm up on stage performing, I'm playing, and the lights go off me. So if you've ever been on stage performing when there's stage lights, they're very bright. They're also extremely hot. So when that brightness is on you, you really can't see the audience hardly at all. Maybe the first two rows, if you're lucky, but other than that, you really can't see the audience hardly at all. Anyways, the lights go down off me while I'm on stage performing, and I can see the audience to some degree. And I look out in the audience and I see these two guys sitting there, and I'm thinking, that looks like Ozzy and Tony Iommi. But I'm thinking, nah, can't be. Can't be. So I continue playing. Of course, the lights come back up on me. I can't see them anymore. And I'm thinking about it though. Then it dawns on me, Ozzfest is right around the corner. It's a day or two away. That could be Ozzy and Tony Iommi. That could be them. Now, my inner fanboy wanted to just run off the stage mid-set. Ozzy, Tony. Of course, I would never actually do that. That's totally unprofessional. And they would probably be like, what the hell is this idiot doing? So I did not do that. What ended up happening was I kept thinking about it. We're playing, we're doing our thing. But I kept thinking about, is that Ozzy and Tony? If it is, I'm going to leave the stage at the end of the set. I'm going to walk over there. I'm going to introduce myself and I'm going to see if I can engage them in a conversation. You know, I want to meet Ozzy and Tony Iommi. I love Black Sabbath. I love Ozzy. So anyways, continue playing. Finally, the set ends. I bolt off the stage and I go over to where I believe they were sitting, but they were gone. Or at least the people that were sitting there, because I couldn't verify if it was Ozzy and Tony. I wasn't sure. Anyways, I'm like, bummer, I missed them. And so I end up going outside, and I'm walking around the dock area a little bit, because the docks is literally on Lake Ontario. It literally is a dock area. And I'm walking around outside, and I asked a couple of my bandmates, did you happen to see in the crowd a couple of guys that I thought it was Ozzy and Tony Iommi. Did you guys happen to see them? And they didn't see anybody that looked like Ozzy and Tony Iommi. So also, I'm thinking it's kind of dangerous for those guys to be just right out in the public, because there's a very good chance they're going to get swarmed by fans. Very, very high chance. I mean, those guys stand out. They look like rock stars 24/7. Ozzy is one of those guys that it's Ozzy if you get a good look at him. So anyways, get back up on stage. We're playing again. I look out in the audience again when the lights are down. I'm still scanning for them, and they're back. This time I decide I can't leave the stage, but I need to know. So in between songs, I said to the singer in the band, can you ask the light guy to shine a light over there, and so that we can just see if that's Ozzy and Tony? Lo and behold, it was Ozzy and Tony. Could not believe it. I'm on stage, and Ozzy and Tony Iommi are watching the band perform. It was unbelievable. Now, they would not come up on stage, they just waved to the crowd. Nobody bothered them, which was truly shocking. Nobody bothered them. At the end of the set, I did go and speak to them, and Ozzy says to me, you're a good drummer, mate. You're a good drummer. Which was the ultimate compliment. Tony, they were both super friendly. They said they enjoyed the band. They asked me if I was going to see, if I was going to go to Ozzfest. I said yes. And Tony says to me, when you get to, you've already got your tickets, but when you get to the gate and you go to give your ticket, say this password. And he gives me a password. I'm like, okay. He says, if you say that password, the guy at the gate will give you a lanyard, which gives you way more access. You've actually got stage access and the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, awesome. Amazing. So a few days later, I end up, by the way, I thanked Tony profusely. I thanked Ozzy. No pictures. They refused pictures, no autographs, no nothing. It was just a moment of, them watching me perform. I got a chance to talk to them at the end of the show, and they were gentlemen, and I didn't fanboy on them. It was really awesome to meet them. Couldn't believe Tony gave me this password. So anyways, that's the end of it. They leave. That's the last I saw them. And then a couple of days later, I go to Ozzfest. Now, I get to the gate, and I give my ticket, and I give the password. Now, it turns out they had changed the password. Tony, obviously, very generous gentleman. The password that I had gotten was not absolute and full access. It was a password that got me to get some bonus things, like discounts on things, as opposed to full access to the stages and all that stuff. I didn't get a lanyard. I got coupons, and the coupons were to get discounts on food and drinks. And if I decided to buy merchandise, I got a discount on the merch and everything. And I really appreciated Tony, but I think he just got his passwords mixed up. Or he knowingly just gave me the discount password, and it was not all access lanyard that I was hoping to get, because I actually asked the guy, hey, where's my lanyard? And he said, yeah, there's no lanyard. You're just going to get some coupons. And I didn't really argue with him. I discussed it with him a little bit, and I kind of said, I was talking to Tony Iommi, and Tony said there was going to be a lanyard here for me, and the guy's like, sorry, man. And they weren't gonna go and track down Tony and say, hey, did you give permission for this guy to get a lanyard? They're too busy. Tony's too busy. It was all, whatever. Anyways, I used the coupons. I got some money off the food, drinks. I think I bought a t-shirt or a poster or something. I don't know where they went, but I think I bought that. Anyways, it was just a very, very off the cuff, by chance, another accidental meeting of stars. This can happen to anybody. I'm nobody special, guys, in terms of being a star. I've met some amazing musicians over the years in some incredible settings. I got to play on stage with Alex Lifeson. In another situation, I was teaching at Appleby College in Oakville at a music camp in the summer, Guitar Workshop Plus. You can look it up. They always have celebrity artists come in and perform. And one particular summer, Orianthi, who is a female blonde lady that played with Michael Jackson, she showed up. I got to play with her on stage. And I also got to play with Alex Lifeson, which was a dream come true. I actually got to play on stage with Alex. Now, I can remember quick rehearsal with Alex. The guy's a total pro. He's amazing. He plays with Neil and Geddy. You know what I mean? I did not try and play like Neil or, duplicate Neil's style, whatever, unless we played a Rush tune, which we did. We did play a Rush tune. Now, he did not put pressure on us. He actually said, do any of you guys know any Rush tunes that we can play, when we were doing the rehearsal? And I knew a lot of Rush tunes. I was very fortunate because I'd been subbing in a Rush tribute around that time. And moving forward, I still sub occasionally in Rush tributes. So I'm familiar with Neil's style, whatever. So the only way I was going to play like Neil is if we were playing some actual Rush tunes. So what ended up happening was we got on stage. We only played about 3 or 4 songs. Alex did his solos. Alex explained about different techniques that he uses. He talked about his guitar, his amp. The focus was Alex. The focus was not on me and the bass player and the singer and this and that. We were just there to back Alex up. He's the star. But it was so much fun playing with him and being on stage with somebody of his caliber. I remember joking with him before we went on stage saying, now, don't get nervous, Alex. I know you're used to playing in much, much larger venues and much, much larger crowds, because Appleby College Theater only holds maybe 200 people, and the stage is quite small, and it's very small compared to what Alex is used to playing on. It managed to hold, with people standing, all of the people that were attending our camp. Of course, everybody wanted to see Alex. So it was great that everybody fit in there, and they got to see Alex, and they got to see Alex perform, and I got to perform with them, which was amazing. But anyways, as I was joking with them saying, I know you're used to playing in larger venues. Don't get nervous, because this is more intimate and close up. People are going to be able to tune in a little bit better on what you're doing, and they're going to be able to see and hear a little bit better than when you're playing a giant venue and it's just a sea of people and it feels like there's no intimacy. So this is going to be a lot more intimate. And he kind of pauses and looks at me and he says, you're an idiot. And we both burst out laughing in that moment. We both started laughing, and then we went right on stage. And you know what? I had so much fun because he kept turning around to me, and when he was playing, and just doing that whole musician signaling thing when we were playing. And he knows how to work an audience like no others. He's got so much stage experience. It was incredible. So what an unbelievable experience of being on stage with Alex. It didn't matter if it was in a small venue or a huge venue. I was in my element in that moment of being on stage. I never once thought oh, he plays with Neil. I can't play like Neil. I never really thought that. Plus, I swore to myself, I'm just going to be me, except for the Rush tunes. We did play some Rush tunes, but not a lot. We played different stuff. Like Alex wanted to do covers. I can't remember all the songs that we did, but we did cover tunes of Alex wanted to play. Not just Rush. It was other stuff too. Now, when I was with Orianthi, we just did Michael Jackson. We just played Michael Jackson tunes. And again, I was very familiar with a lot of the Michael Jackson tunes, not from playing in a tribute or anything, but just from playing Michael Jackson tunes over the years. And when I was with her, beautiful lady, wonderful person, really enjoyed being on stage with her as well. She was, glamorous rock star, giant flowing blonde hair. She was really, really something. And it was a fantastic thing to be able to work at these music camps and perform with the star artists when they come in. What a thrill for the audience. What a thrill for the teachers and the artists too. They really enjoyed themselves. And I'm sure they got paid well showing up at those camps. No doubt about it. So I have been around stars in different settings. A lot of it is by accident. A lot of it is on purpose, Dom Famulero, and a lot of it is through these music camps that I've been at. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thought you were, my Neil video did well, and people seem to be really interested in my interactions with the stars. So I thought I would just tell you those two, technically three quick stories about other stars that I've actually been around and performed with. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and as always, keep drumming. See ya.